Board of Works meeting to order. Phyllis, could we have roll call?
Craig Kershaw.
Here.
Bill Carbone.
Here.
Ken Meyer.
Here. First thing is Corey Appleter's applied with the city to post signs in the parking lot behind City Hall. What's the number of that ordinance that's...
You need to approve the minutes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I would need to... You would email a copy of the minutes from our last meeting from February 1st. Could I get a motion or amendment to those minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept as email.
Thank you.
Extend second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now,
That would be ordinance 1988-21.
it is ordinance 1988-21. It's agreement for posting of signs where the owner, leasee, agrees to post notice conspicuously displayed at the above described place of business in conformance with the provisions of the City of Decatur, ordinance number 1988-21. And Corey has asked to place those signs. He's already paid Phyllis for them. I just need to get approval from the board to allow.
I'll make a motion to allow. I'll second that.
A motion and a second to allow Corey to place the signs in the parking lot. All in favor? It'd be a total of 4 signs? Yeah. Okay, is it all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Do I need to sign this, Phyllis? Or do we all three need to?
All three.
All three of us do? Have them sign it below me. Okay, that's the first thing. Sure, we got some bids tonight. These are for street material, equipment, and labor bids, I believe. And the first thing we need to do is make the advertising receipt a matter of record. Give me a so moved over here.
So moved.
Give me a second, Craig.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right. Here are the bids. Tim, I'll tell you what, I'll open them, then I'll hand them over to you. All right? I know you always have a hard time opening them, being left-handed and all.
No.
They're left-handed openers. This is the first one?
Okay, the first bid to be open is submitted by Brooks Construction. This is a bid for street materials, equipment, and labor. The bid bond in the amount of 5% of the bid is submitted. I'm just going to read off a couple of these. Jeremy, is there any in particular that you want?
Basically on these, just go off of the asphalt. Biggest thing is just the asphalt. Just probably pick out a couple of these.
Okay. Okay. There's a number of materials that are bid. I'm only going to read a couple for comparison purposes, but a binder number 8, number 9, $65 per ton. Surface number 9, $66 a ton. Surface 11, $72 per ton. Again, there are numerous other materials bid. There's also hourly work rates for various pieces of equipment. Bin bottom 5% is submitted.
And that was Brooks?
This is Brooks Brothers, right? Bid is properly signed and notarized. And other supporting documents to the bidder submitted.
The second one is from Fleming Excavating.
And this is a bid for hourly rates on equipment and material. And he also has bids on crushed stone. I'm just going to say, on a mini excavator, the rate's $175 an hour. A dozer, D6 dozer, $265. Triaxle dump truck, $106. There's numerous other items bid. With regard to the stone that's bid, again, there's a bid bond in the amount of 5% of the bid submitted.
Long way.
Get back here to the signature page. Bid is properly signed and notarized. For crushed stone, number 2, 10, 53, and 73 is $13.60 a ton. There's other items submitted as well.
You gotta dig all the way down to this to get to the meat on that one. It's from Wayne Asphalt.
Okay, Wayne Asphalt is the next bid that's open out of Fort Wayne. For the asphalt, the binder number 8, number 9, $55 per ton, surface number 9, $65 a ton, surface number 11, $75 a ton. They signed it somewhere. Bid is signed, notarized. Bid bond in the amount of 5% of the bid is submitted.
Stone Street.
Next bid to be open is submitted by Stone Street Quarries, Inc. out of Hoagland, Indiana. Bid bond at 5% is submitted. This is on street materials. Bid is signed and notarized. Crushed limestone number 53 and 73. $11.75 a ton out of the Poe Quarry. There's other materials that are bid and submitted with that.
All there.
Luganville.
Next bid to be opened is submitted by Luganville Excavating, Inc. Bid is signed, notarized. This is for machine hire. Trying to remember what I read previously.
53s and 73s.
Well, this is on, there's no...
No stones?
Hourly rate. This is on machine hire. Dump truck was $100 an hour, mini excavator was $100 an hour.
Yeah.
I think I did a...
That's enough.
Okay. There's other bids submitted.
U.S. Aggregates. Who's that?
It's the old Meshburger Brothers.
Oh, is that what they go by?
Next bid is submitted by U.S. Aggregates out of Decatur, Indiana.
Pleasant Mills and Wind Grove.
It's a fine. Okay. Bid signed, notarized. It's for material. Size 2, 10, 53, and 73. Number 2 is 11 a ton. 53 is $9.95 a ton. 73 is $9.95 a ton. That's out of Pleasant Mills. Bid bond in the amount of 10% of the bid is submitted. I would make a motion that we, as long as there's more than... I would make a motion that we take those bids under advisement.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second to take the bids under advisement for Jeremy to review. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeremy, while you're up here, you want to talk about the quote you have for the demolition of the old water tower?
Yeah.
This is for the water, the old, it's not a water tower anymore, it's the old base, concrete base down there off of Mercer.
I've run into a little issue. We talked a while back about the water tower that down there at the trail where that was falling down. And what we had ran into on that was about 2 months ago, I asked you if we could take that out of the unsafe building fund, or whatever that classifies as. And there was an agreement that we would do that. I've been working to try to satisfy our purchasing ordinance. I talked with Greg Plumbing numerous times, and he said he would look at it. He would look at it. He still hasn't looked at it. Doesn't really seem too interested in looking at it. I've only been able to receive one quote for that. Is that going to be an issue?
How much is it? Who's it from?
It's from the Works Company, out of Fort Wayne.
Have you done work with them, Jeremy?
Yeah, he was actually, oh, dang it, where's that? Safety order. I have it. Yeah, he did the, supplied us the dumpsters and stuff for the apartments over here while we tore all that down, and then he's cleaned like the river, mowed the river off a couple times for us over there. Don knew him more than what I did whenever he first started working for us. Whenever Don was
With Fleming.
with Fleming's.
What's the name of this?
The Works Company.
Works Company?
Out of Fort Wayne.
Is there anybody else that you can contact, Jeremy, other than Fleming?
Are we in a hurry? I don't know, Tim. I said something to Brent about it also, and Brent didn't seem too interested either. I'm going to have to dig back through me, but I'll get you the total on that. So I guess the biggest question is, what do you want me to do? You want me to keep searching to see if I can find you another quote, or is this going to exhaust our efforts?
Did he give you a bid? And don't say the number.
Yes, he did give me one.
Are we in a hurry? Is it unsafe?
It needs to come down sooner or later because the top one's falling off.
Okay. Do we need like a month, or, I mean, how much time do you really feel for the safety
I'd
of
like
it?
to get it down sooner than later. I can search and see if I can find another one, or I'll go back and see if I can find it in my phone here, and you can go on to something that I can pull back out.
Okay. Yeah, and the alternative would be you could just send something in writing to Brent and Fleming and say, if you're interested, I need a quote by this date. Right, deadline.
Because what we're running into is we just amended the ordinance, and now we've been working on all this prior to the amendment of the ordinance, and that's coming in after the ordinance was amended, so I wasn't real sure how you wanted to.
Yeah, I would just give them a deadline. If they don't respond, you made the effort to get 3 quotes at that point, and if we only have one, then I think the board could consider that.
Okay, yeah, let me pull that back up, and just so you have an idea what it is. It may not saved on here. I moved it over here this afternoon before I left, so I have it. Go on, or see if I can find it here.
Do you want to talk about while you're up here?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you got it there. I knew one of us had it. It's $9,850 to remove that structure. It's under the 10,000 on the board works, but it still requires 2 quotes.
I'll make a motion that we leave this to the discretion of Jeremy Gilbert.
We do have it fenced off. It's been fenced off because the kids have been hanging around it. So we fenced it, snow fenced it off due to the debris falling off the top of it.
Well,
So I think it's something that we need to do sooner than later.
that if he feels that it's an emergency situation for the health and safety of our community, that you go ahead and initiate it. If you have time to contact them and they can get you a quote in the next few days. And I think it's a great idea that Jeremy just take the reins on this thing and make a decision.
I'll contact Greg one more time and tell him we need to have something, so that way it covers us.
My personal feelings is that we like to deal with local folks, number one. And,
No, I totally agree, but what I'm running into is being able to get somebody...
They're busy. They're busy.
Right.
So if you don't mind, I would make a motion that it's in your hands, and if you can find somebody to do something in the next week, is that fair enough?
Yeah, that's fine.
And get the lowest, you take the lowest and most responsible bid that we leave it in your hands to take care
It's
of.
not going to be an easy job, and I think that's why some of them are
Hesitant.
a little hesitant to do it now, because it's all, it's brick, or not brick, but it's concrete, and a lot of reinforcement. So they're going to, primarily, they're probably going to have to build a ramp out of dirt to get up high enough to get it. To be able to pull
Not going to put a chain on it and pull it over, huh?
I don't think it's, if it does, the top of it will come off, which would be a good thing, I guess. That's
Right.
that much less that you got to do.
It'd be kind of fun to watch them.
Okay, so... Yeah, you second? I'll go ahead and second Greg's.
Okay, so the motion is,
If I understand it, you're okaying Jeremy to go ahead and try to get a second bid within a week, and take the lowest responsible bid. If he can't get a second bid, then go with the one that we have. That's correct. For the basis being for the health and safety of the community. Because of the emergency circumstances.
Well, and as it gets warmer, you're going to have more people using the trail, and a couple of the neighbors have called, they've heard,
Pieces of concrete falling.
and they look out, and we go down there and pick up some.
If you think that's smart.
Yeah.
If you don't, then do what you got to do.
Anything else?
if you want to talk about your hiring position that you want to hire?
I've been working with the park board. Larry Ish is here tonight also, representing the park board as the park board president. And this year's budget, council had approved to add an additional full-time maintenance person due to the workload that Sue's been taking on with all the mowing and all the future projects that are coming up. We've sat down and created a job description. The job description was circulated between Ken and I and the park board. I think Bill even looked at it at one point. But we're ready to start the hiring process. So I'm here tonight to ask for permission to start that process. That process will be handled by the park board due to the Indiana Park Law. They will administer actual interviews and hiring and such. So,
Can you share a little bit about the job description itself, like what kind of basic things are on it?
Basically, what the job will be is it's a full-time maintenance person. Currently, you have one full-time maintenance, and that's Sue. She's also a supervisor. So that leaves Sue out there virtually amongst herself. These times of the year with help of other public works workers, and then she takes the task of managing all the full-time, or all the, the part-time retired mowers and stuff that we have. Be doing some mowing, a little bit of planing, helping maintain the ballparks, the parks in general, some of the city buildings, slash park buildings and stuff, so. And just the general maintenance.
And yards after the part-time people go leave.
Correct.
That's when she gets in a real bind.
Yeah, and what we're getting into is like on a lot of the flood buyout properties, all those revert back to the Parks Department. So anytime we get any more flood grants or receive any more flood grants, that's more work on Sue's back and Public Works in general.
And she takes care of people in town that are negligent.
Correct. So she's got a lot to do. I think this is very overdue in adding a person over there. I know Larry's been very involved in it, and Larry's, what would you say, 49 years on the park board? It's very, very much...
Just 49 years, huh?
So, the person will be required to obtain like a spraying license and stuff like that for when Sue does retire. Hopefully she doesn't retire for a long time, but, this person possibly would be able to step into Sue's role at some point whenever Sue would retire and then replace.
Throw out a hypothetical situation. If and when Hannah Nutman goes, and if and when Northwest Elementary would go, I mean, do you have enough help even with this person?
I would like to reevaluate that after a year. I'm going to say probably not, but I'd like to see where we end up at with this person and kind of lay down some ground rules and see where the future.
Wait and see how all those unfolds.
We're never going to turn away help, but we need to rightfully hire and keep the person busy.
Yep.
At the same time. So.
Good.
I'll make a motion that we accept what Jeremy just offered.
A motion and a
Second
for Jeremy to go ahead and start the hiring process for the new park position. I assume you'll post it internally?
Yes.
And then if nothing comes from that, then you'll advertise it?
Yep.
Okay.
And then the park board has appointed basically a three-person hiring committee. Once the applications are in, and they will review the applications and do the interviews and make the selection at that point. So
Okay.
we're probably looking a month, maybe at the most, before we get somebody. We'd like to get someone soon, sooner than later. With spring coming and start out on the right foot with oil rigs.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think this is kind of a Kevin, kind of a Kerry joint thing here. The guaranteed savings contract with Kokosing. And the fact that we have some money left over.
Correct.
That was like a synchronized approach there.
We've been practicing all day.
Okay, go ahead.
You said we do have some money left over with the guaranteed savings from the clerical work again plan. They are estimating, very rough estimate of $130,000.
Sweet.
But that doesn't include, we have an electrician coming in this week to do some more electrical work that's required. So that'll come off of that amount. And we did submit a wish list for the items that we would like to spend that extra money on. So they're going to come in and look at the items on the wish list to give us an estimate of what each item would cost. And then from there, because we're asking permission if we can sign paperwork to proceed forward with the project.
His contract first.
Yeah,
And that's what we're kind of new to this too, but as far as it's all under the same contract, it's just adding tasks to the contract.
Yeah, that's what he wanted too.
Okay.
Yeah, we still have to present a contract.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess we'll present the contract with
Yeah.
I couldn't hear what Phyllis said. What did you say?
They have to present a contract, I mean, to say what they're doing, those tasks.
Okay, an itemized.
They're going to amend that original contract,
Right.
and these are the tasks they're going to add on.
Since there's money, sir. So what do we do? Give them permission to seek those tasks? And do they have to come back in front of the Board of Works?
Contract.
And once they
Back to
come,
you guys.
Is there a time frame on this that it has to go? I mean, 2 weeks, if you get that contract, come back a couple of weeks, be okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
that'll be fine.
They still got to come back with pricing, I believe.
Yes, they haven't looked at anything for pricing, and they're still doing some site remediation this spring when the weather breaks.
You might set up priorities too, Carrie, because it may come in that it may need more than the 135.
Well, we got a variety of things on there. There's one item that has to get done.
That's what I mean, because if it comes in over that, then we're submitting a new contract, basically,
well,
right?
that's my question is, are these additional items that you're talking about all related to the clarifier itself?
They're all related, they're all in the plan. And so with that guaranteed savings contract, my understanding is as long as you're fairly vague with the language, anything inside that facility can be added to the contract.
So was the contract vague or
Yeah.
broad enough in scope
Yeah.
that it wouldn't cover
And
that?
that's what, going into COSING and Structure Point, kind of helps us, these are some items that we might want to do, so this is how we'll put the language, so that way we can maybe get to these items after that.
Yeah, it's kind of like, the bond ordinance, when we do a bond issue, there's usually some language that's kind of fairly broad in scope
Yeah.
that kind of opens up the ability to include certain projects that weren't specifically enumerated. So as long as this contract has somewhat similar language that would allow for that to be done under the existing contract, then what we need is basically a change order where additional work is being proposed for a particular price under the guaranteed savings contract. And that's something that's, as Phyllis said, that needs to be presented. We need to review it and approve it.
Sounds good.
Do we need a motion to let them continue with this, or just let it go?
I think you can just go ahead and
You can
see you in a couple of weeks on that.
Okay.
Okay. When you get the bids,
That dollar amount.
Roughly 130, she
Yeah,
said.
whatever it is.
plus or minus
Very
130.
preliminary number.
While the two of you are up here, and Don, I don't know if you need to join them or not, but do you want to kind of report on the good news that we hope to receive?
I'll let Don present on that.
Don, come on up.
For good news?
Well, it's not in writing yet. Of course, we got to have AECom help us out with that, but
AECom is working on drafting a letter for IDEM that will kind of specify what we're going to do in the CSO areas that are failing the infiltration that we're getting. So with talking with IDEM, we've had 2 conference calls with IDEM. After this last one, she pretty much verbally said as long as we submit what we talked about in the first meeting, that she'll grant us the 3 more years to go after these problems and then reevaluate the size of the tank. So, which is a huge win for us.
it sure is.
Yep, that's great, Johnny.
So, they were very cooperative, and it was a joint effort between everybody, Terry, me, Kevin, Jeremy, Tim. Everybody was involved, but it went really well talking with IDEM, and we hopefully get the results we want. The letter should be, we're meeting tomorrow with AECom to finalize the draft of that, and then let Ken look at it and send it to IDEM, and it pretty much spells out everything we talked about in the conference call.
If you don't mind, I'd like to say a couple quick comments.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, as a team, for this effort, to give us 3 more years to evaluate with the proactive thinking that this team has come up with on the camera situation for the infrastructure of our community. I think this is very commendable and want to say thank you. You guys did a good job. Thanks so much. It was all of you. All of
It
you.
was a joint effort. But Jefferson Street's our first area we want to tackle.
Now the work
Biggest
begins, huh?
contributor. And so you'll see a lot of me asking for, updating you on what we're finding. We know that's a huge problem, Ryan.
Thanks to all of you. This is big deal.
Cameron is the week of the 18th, March 18th.
That's
Somewhere in that
pretty
month.
close to spring break. Don, you gonna be around?
Well, I'm not going nowhere, Craig.
We
So,
visited the site last week and met with everyone, and we're having some training that week and probably the week after, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll.
really nice bunch of guys we met. Nice facility.
Where's their home office? Was it over at Rochester?
appraisers to do the
On the other side of Manchester.
to bring up Steve.
Yeah, because I want to
Nice
make a matter
guys,
of
nice
record.
guys.
too. Good work, team. Just makes me proud that these guys took the initiative and got it done. Got us some time and fix it right.
Now, part of the final phase, of phase 4 rather, was the purchase of the 3 properties that we'd talked about, and you guys had given me the okay to go ahead and approach the homeowners to have the properties appraised. And I haven't talked to Marshall Zimmerman about that one, but the Steve Lytle and the 3rd home, they're both fine with it. And I've got Steve Cree and Matt Halberman. There's only one commercial appraiser in Decatur, and that's Steve. So I had to go to Bluffton to get the second one. And they're going to be doing appraisals on the properties. So with that, while the 2nd and 3rd homes are not in any hurry with all of what's happening, the first lot is somewhat of a hurry. Steve's health isn't the greatest, and he would like to get it sold. So, Tim, you have a comment?
Yeah, we went ahead, Steve shared with me today, actually, that Steve Cree or Kim Johnson are coming Friday to do the appraisal, and Monday, Matt Halderman will. But in the meantime, we had talked to him about the need to do possibly some soil borings and environmental assessment, and that requires us to get permission to go on his property to do so. So today he and Pat signed that authorization, so I would probably have that made a matter of record. And Jeremy, I don't know if you were able to get in touch with NERC or not.
We're working out on the plan details. I have to call Matt Peters back tomorrow morning.
Okay. So hopefully we can do that through NERC. That'll keep costs down, and that will give us the ability to do the investigation that we need to make sure that there isn't an issue with regard to that particular property. The problem is there's some urgency on Steve and Pat's part because both are experiencing some pretty significant health issues, and they're anxious to get it sold. So we need to probably move on that quicker than we would need to, but to maintain the ability to get site control of that property, we may need to do it sooner than later.
Also, with the thing,
Right.
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 are we, so regardless of the delay, we still have to pursue purchasing of property?
This one, you probably are going to. The other 2, we can hold off.
The tank is most likely.
We're still going to have to do a tank.
What we're trying to do is take some of the,
Keep the size.
to maybe lower the size of it.
get rid of some pumping issues that we would have had to pump, lift stations to get some water.
The amount of water we're going to have to treat,
Yeah, so
lower all that.
ultimately, in the end, there's probably a real good chance you're gonna still build a tank, just not anywhere the size you were looking at. And you may not be pumping from as many areas.
The other thing, too, Cam, is if there's ever future expansion in our fair city, that wouldn't be a bad piece of property to acquire for that.
Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion to make that a matter of record.
I have a motion and a second to make this letter from Steve and Pat Lytle a matter of record. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. There you go, Phyllis.
We've got a lot of infrastructure right around those properties, I mean, it only makes sense to own that ground. There's a lot of deep sewers right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Leonard. Chief has a request.
Well, I'm here to ask for permission from the Board of Works, as we talked about a few weeks ago, about trying to get city employees involved, and I did talk to my guys about that. I've been trying really hard to make some of our guys community-oriented. If you look at our Facebook page, we get a lot of nice compliments for tours, things that we do, and it's been a positive impact in the community. But they really like the No Shave November. I mean, the beards and goatees. I'm old school. I am not a fan of officers with beards and goatees and tattoos, but I am a fan of helping the community. And my guys came to me and asked if we could donate more money to the Hannahman project. They're willing to pay $10 a month until the project is complete. And out of
Until the
19
project is
officers,
complete?
complete.
Well, no, that may be done in phases over a period of years. You're looking at years here. Then,
Well, maybe just 1 year. How's
I
that?
would maybe put a time frame on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I didn't know. But out of 19 officers, 14 officers said they would love to participate in that.
$140 a month.
$10 a month. I'll donate $10 a month, but I'm not growing anything, so I didn't like the goatee. So, but I'm asking to see if that would be if that would be a possibility, if the Board of Works is willing to kind of grant this permission.
Well, I think that, well, I would like to hear from the Board of Works. I also would like to hear from the council members, because those guys are out representing all of Decatur, so go ahead.
I would make
Board of
sure
Works.
that they're trimmed, none of the Andrew luck down here, none of the, it'll be maintained. That's what one of the conditions that I would tell the council.
Yeah, yeah.
Lenny, I have a question. Is Fort Wayne doing some type of project also like this?
Fort Wayne recently changed their policy,
Yeah?
and also Bluffton PD, and also Auburn PD. I've been in contact with area chiefs on some other issues, but when they send me their information about, say, wages and benefits, they just changed their, some of the departments changed their policies to beards and goatees.
Yeah, I've seen on the news at night, I've seen a few Fort Wayne police officers have beards and that, and I thought, you know, that's kind of unique, but so they're allowing it without even any type of fundraiser.
Correct.
As long as they keep them shaved proper or whatever, huh?
Don't put that in the record, Barb.
Okay, so basically we're asking for permission today for each officer to donate $10 per month for facial hair?
Correct.
Are they gonna have piercings and tattoos and all kinds of stuff like that too?
What is our tattoo policy?
We don't have one. We do have one officer that has it down, has an arm sleeve tattoo, nothing vulgar or anything like that. Hasn't been too much of a problem. We do have a reserve, Jared Fawcett, who has a thin blue line tattoo on his forearm. It's not vulgar, but we don't have a policy on that, so.
The fire department does. I saw theirs, but the police department doesn't. And we hired an officer, in fact, the officer that went to New Haven, that,
Shea Beaver.
no, the other one that...
Wenzel.
Wenzel.
But Shea had tats too.
Yeah, he had tattoos, and in the summer months when they'd wear a short sleeve shirt, I've seen him out directing traffic and everything, and in today's,
I had a
people, the way
resident complain, they didn't like that look. They were older.
Oh, sure.
I personally don't like that look, but whatever, you know.
Well, Lenny
What's
called-
the county or the state, how do they handle it? Or
State
do
police
they-
is by the book. In fact, they still wear their Class A's as patrol uniforms. The county, they're still the same under what Shane Reckaway's policy.
New sheriff, though.
I don't know, they're still dressed the same, there's nothing changing over there as far as I know.
Still early.
Yeah.
I'd make a suggestion that we leave it up to Chief Corral for the betterment of the morale
Morale's really
and
good,
community.
but, you know, these guys been hounding me.
Right.
Ever since No Shave November.
I'd like to leave it up to the chief. He's virtually responsible for his morale
and departments, so...
I think doing it that way, as you say, if he needs to pull the plug on it at some point, you can pull it.
Some guy puts a piercing in his eyelid or something that you don't like, that you just tell him that's not advisable.
I would be cautious about the length of time that you put on this,
Yeah.
because that way you can always reevaluate it. I can give it a trial run. There's some guys in there that grow real nice beards. They do. I mean, when they had No Shave November, we had a lot of compliments from people saying that was kind of a different look. There were some officers that looked okay, but there was a majority of officers looked really, really professional still. Kept it trimmed, kept it clean. I didn't see a problem with that.
So, that's my motion.
Look at that scruffy bunch back there, jeez.
I think my personal opinion here, that it needs to be, it's got to be clean. It's got to be
Very
trimmed,
clean.
right?
And that's one of the things I said, I brought up, like, I showed Deputy Chief Mahan, there were some photos I looked like Brad Pitt. Those guys had nice goatees, were trimmed, the professional look, something like that, nothing hair sticking out, nothing growth longer than the chin, still kept it, nice and tight. And if I'm going to go through that, I'm going to keep tabs on it and also have my sergeants enforce it too. So
Back when Wiley was in the Navy,
we were clean.
well, they had, I think it was early 70s, and I think they had, like, mutton chops and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it really became a safety issue, right?
Yeah.
It was because
That's
they
true.
couldn't get a seal on a mask. But the
But
military...
I had no choice in boot camp.
Yeah, but the military itself has become more lax on, especially the tattoo policy. But, I think you're right, it's the chief's call, as long as it reflects well on the community.
Okay, any
Is
other
that a
comments?
motion that I made?
If not, Bill, you good with that?
Yeah, I'm good with
A
that.
motion and a second for Lenny to be able to call the shots on this. I would again maybe put some kind of a timeline on it and then review it, come back and let us know, and give us reports how much money you're bringing in for the Hannah Nutman project. We might even have you report that at the council meeting so that it gets some PR, and maybe to challenge some of our other departments to
Over to you.
to get their staffs to participate somehow.
Okay, Woody, it's gonna cost you $10 a month.
Yeah.
To wear that thing.
And Don, and Bill, and Kevin, and me.
You say Sharon's going to participate?
Sure. All right, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, thank you.
So basically, we're gonna allow permission to do this with donations under the chief's
But then after that... Yeah.
And with the tattoos, you may look at some of the other departments, because I don't think you don't want a police officer with a tattoo all over his face and up his neck. And
No,
You're not going to hire one like that, are you?
yeah. Well, I do a lot of guns with my father-in-law, and back then when he was chief, it wasn't a problem back then. But now the tattoo fad right now is, everywhere you go, you see a lot of people with tattoos on their arms. I do know, like EMS, they have to cover their arms up, some type of arm sleeve. But the guys that have, like one of our officers right now, it's a clean look. It's not vulgar or anything like that. But I personally don't like them, but I'm willing to change. I'm just kind of old school, because the guy could be a great communicator, a great officer, and he's got an arm sleeve tattoo that, maybe he was in the military, I don't know. I surely wouldn't hold that against him, but you're correct. If they got it on their eyes and neck, that does look more unprofessional than just on the arm, so.
well, the motion's to leave it to your discretion. Yeah.
Okay. And I'll keep you informed. I do appreciate that. Thank you.
And I like how you describe it.
Thank you.
It's called inked. You always told me they're well inked.
Yeah. If I could just real quick, the reserves we have, the new ones, 3 that we put on, 2 just completed pre-basic training. Very little city on my budget to clothe these officers because Paige Vanover and Jared carried a lot of stuff over from the jail and from Geneva. So those are going very well. So we're hoping to get them going and have a good reserve program, help us around parade time and some details too. So
Good.
Thank you. Here comes Jeremy.
No return these. Everything's good.
You'd like to accept them all and
Use who's available.
use who's available. I'd like to get a motion, if I could, to accept all the bids that we've received after Jeremy's now reviewed them and make them all available to use.
Good. I'll make that motion.
Second. And all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Here you go, Phyllis.
I have some.
Do I need to bring up the thing about Sal or not? Just let go. We're just talking to each guy individually.
Yeah, I would do that.
Okay, all right. Okay, what do you have, Tim?
Okay, I probably need to have this made a matter of record, but I put the county on notice. I'm not sure I needed to. Doesn't mean that we're going to do anything as far as litigation, but I served a tort claim notice on the county regarding some of the expenses that the fire department incurred as a result of Bill or Jim being injured in response to a fire alarm at Icorns. And under the tort claim notice statute, you have 180 days in which to serve that on a governmental entity. It doesn't say anything about whether a governmental entity has to do it to a governmental entity, but just to preserve the ability to try to collect for overtime that was paid, I served that. And I explained in the notice to the county that, you know, we're not threatening litigation, it's just to preserve our ability to submit a claim and get reimbursed. So, if I could, I'd like that to be made a matter of record.
Figured out the insurance?
I'm sorry, what?
Should the city's insurance pay for that? Should the county's?
It's county.
The county...
County deputy hit our employee.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we're certainly preserving our ability to recoup at least the fire department. If the city pays anything and there's a negligent claim, then the city's insurance carrier will, under a subrogation claim, look to be reimbursed by the county's employer or insurance coverage.
I'd like to make this a matter of record.
Yeah, second.
I have a motion and a second to make this tort claim a matter of record. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Tim, you got anything else? Phyllis, do you have anything else? I have nothing else. Board of Works, do you have anything? If not, look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Jim.
For the record, after the meeting now is over, Mr. Carbach will not be here the next two meetings, right, Bill?
Yes.
Yeah.